allegations in regards to the corruption of the LAPD?
What allegations?
Well, the ones made by Christopher Dorner and the other people who've come forward releasing documents and manifestos in regards to corruption.
Well, we look at all of them. We'll look at all the, we're a very transparent organization. We've been looking at any allegations that come forward. And we'll look at them. We'll look at everything, see if there's lessons learned, something to learn. If there's misconduct, we'll address it. If there's criminal behavior, we'll address it.
How do you feel about how the San Bernardino County Sheriff Department dealt with the cabin incident with Christopher Dorner?
That's for San Bernardino to address. That's
I was asking how you felt, how they did it.
That's how I feel.
Okay, thank you.
And how do you feel about the blue line that was mentioned in the blue line that was mentioned? Is that what he called it? Blue line, where cops aren't allowed to come forward to talk about blue code of silence. Yeah. That's right. Does that exist? Is there a blue code of silence? Is there an unspoken rule amongst officers to keep silent about brutality and corruption?
We expect officers to come forward when there's misconduct that's committed.
If an officer were to engage in such use of force and you were to witness it, would you come forward?
Well, I'm a deputy chief. I would. Yeah.
Have you ever? Have you ever come forward with something that you felt was unethical or violated your codes? Or, have you ever come forward?
With what?
Like, honestly, wait, let me ask the question, okay? Everybody fucks up, okay? One of your officers, you must have seen somebody fuck up at some time. Have you ever reported that?
Okay, so your question, because you're kind of going in a different.
My question is, have you ever?
Have I ever been? I'm an administrator of discipline. So I have terminated officers, recommended termination officers to the chief of police. Okay? I have testified against other officers at one time when there's been something that's gone on. But those are personnel issues, and that issues that I wouldn't comment on who the officers were or what the circumstances were.
Why not?
Because that's part of the law. There's AB 3300. It's a personnel issue. Once if you're employed, your employer's not going to lay out whatever happens with you into the media.
Well, what about?
So doesn't that enforce blue code of silence?
No.
Can you explain what due process means? If they're a public employee.
One question at a time.
Yeah, one question at a time, guys.
Well, actually,
we should thank him for talking to us.
And all I've got was, why don't you Google it? Can you explain what due process is to us?
I have a feeling you know what due process is.
Well, I want to understand it more from your view.
Okay. So, next question.
I'm curious what's going to happen to the police officers that shot the innocent. What's going to happen with the police officers that shot the innocent people while looking for Chris Dorner? What's going to happen with the police officers that shot the innocent people on the street while looking for Chris Dorner?
Our chief has already said that there's an investigation that goes into that. We have a standard protocol that addresses those. Yeah, we have a force investigation division team that comes out. They do a very extensive investigation. It's the most extensive investigation that's done in the United States on any and all shootings that we have, and that will run its course. The chief will review it.
Would you be able to say a timeline about how long that process would be able to take so I can keep up with it?
It depends.
So I can keep up with it. I would like to know what's happening with that. So if I can get a timeline of how long I should wait, 3 years, never,
It'll never be never.
That's what I'm thinking.
It'll never be never. Depending on the investigation, if it's an administrative investigation, it can get told while there's a criminal investigation that goes on to the criminal statutes done. So I'm sure the chief will put the information out when he's ready to make that recommendation to the police commission.
I got a question. Can you explain your protocol to us? Because I keep hearing that word thrown around and it really doesn't mean anything anymore.
What protocol?
You just said it right now. That you guys are going to be following your guys' protocol in order to follow.
No, I said what I said was we have a protocol that conducts the investigations in that.
Can you define your protocol?
On that is we have a team, highly skilled investigators. They come out, they handle an investigation, they take a look at that.
Do they have credentials that we can review?
Have credentials that you can
review? Right, anyone can be called an expert. I can call this guy an entertainment expert.
This guy is an entertainment expert.
They're experts in their field. They come in, they do the investigation. The investigation then is conducted within 72 hours. The chief of police has a review of that incident, makes any determinations as to the direction
talking about
and
an
information they
independent
want. I'm sorry, I'm talking as loud as I can, so
Give him the
I don't have a
megaphone.
bullhorn, so.
Give him the megaphone.
Well, here,
Let's
I'm
mic
the
check
best
him.
you got today, so you either got to close ranks. And,
We could do a mic check,
and
but
hold down
it's
to
very
one question.
I got one more
it.
question then. Are these people that are coming in that are internal through the department, or are they third party?
They're internal, they're our investigators. The Inspector General looks at the investigation. The Police Commission gets presented with the investigation. The DA office rolls out a team of investigators, so it's a comprehensive piece.
So it's through the internal parts of the department, correct?
So if the Nazi Party were to investigate the Nazi Party for war crimes, do you think that they would find them guilty of war crimes?
That's my question.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
No. So if the LAPD is investigating the LAPD for brutality, do you think they're going to find themselves guilty, or do you think they're going to find themselves innocent?
Open investigation.
Maybe a third-party investigation might be a little bit more appropriate?
Absolutely.
If it were your family member, I'm sure you'd like the same. But just one more question. Why is it that the police were reporting first that they didn't know how the cabin set on fire, and then we heard the radio transmission where they're saying to burn it down? And that was the original
San
plan?
Bernardino County
Okay.
Police. They're doing their investigation on that. That's not our incident. That wasn't our officers with that piece. So I couldn't speak to anything to that.
So are you saying there's absolutely no cooperation between you guys and their department
So
on
next.
any of this?
I have a quick question. This is your opinion. When there are instances where officers shoot people that are innocent or they thought it was somebody else, how come usually there's an investigation, this, that, and the other thing? How come they usually get a slap on the wrist when a normal citizen would be charged with attempted murder?
Well, that's not necessarily true.
I'm not saying every instance, but when it does happen, why do officers get?
If we have
no
officers,
suspension?
we have officers that have been administratively punished, and we've had some that have been terminated over use of force.
What constitutes an administrative punishment?
Depends on the findings of that investigation.
What
I got like 2 more questions, and then.
What concerns?
I have a question right now in regards to in Christopher Dorner's papers. It shows that it was supposed to be.
You want to come in out of the sun so you don't get. You look like you're being blinded there.
It was supposed to be. The judge said they were supposed to set aside the judgment of releasing Christopher Dorner from the force. Why wasn't that enforced? In his court papers, it shows that the judge set aside the judgment to take him off the force.
I don't believe that. That's what I read in there. I'd have to double check that. I can't respond to that.
What concerns me has to do with more than Christopher. It has to do with inside the force, and I don't mean just in terms of people who knowingly and choose to do wrong. It has to do with those who enter the force and they want to do right. And they can't do right because they are caught in the system. Now that's what concerns me. I know it's something that's not going to be done because I know that's how it operates. But I think it's unfortunate for all of us who care and all who enter any profession that you go there and there's something already in place. So you can't do what's right, even if you want to, because the forces come down on you. That's tragic.
Clarify your question, please.
Sure.
It's a statement, not a question.
Thank you.
Does the LAPD have an estimate on how much money was spent on the pursuit of Christopher Dorner?
No, not that I'm aware of.
How many homeless people sleep on the street every night in LA?
Throughout the whole city?
Yes.
I couldn't tell you.
Could they have maybe been provided housing instead of the money that was spent on pursuing Christopher Dorner?
By who?
By the city of LA.
Well, that's something you'd have to take up with the city council in terms of housing. How with the housing for homeless. So there's a program in place for that.
Is it adequate?
Depends on your perspective, I guess. Next question. One more, and then I gotta go.
That's hilarious.
When there's police chases, I notice a lot of times if it goes between LAPD, CHP, just different jurisdictions, they'll hold off on entering another jurisdiction. When they were going to the mountains, when they had Chris Dorner cornered, I've heard reports that LAPD helicopters came from Los Angeles to San Bernardino. Why would they go all the way out there when San Bernardino can handle that themselves?
I think, one, you're mistaken in terms of what occurs with that. But there are some jurisdictional issues in terms of times that we may say, hey, you report you have, but if you're in pursuit, a felon or anything like that, we have you're allowed to go in there. So I'd say sometimes we will turn over a vehicle pursuit to the CHP because it's on the freeways and say, okay, now you have it. What you're speaking about is we had a joint operation that was going on with all the involved agencies. Just like if we had a fire that was breaking out here, a natural disaster, anything, that would break loose, we'd bring in all the various government agencies together so we can provide a coordinated response to that, as opposed to having independent missions.
Did they need all those people just to catch one person? All that manpower that came from Los Angeles to go to San Bernardino, Los Angeles resources were spread thin.
We were very strategic in our response in the officers that we were using. So. All right, thank you. No, I said that was the last one.
Sorry, what is your rank, sir? I'm sorry.
Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief, thank you very much.
And this was Officer Perez.
Thank you, Officer Perez.
And,
Yeah, you too.
You too.